All right, we're rolling live from the wasteland outside the survival pod. This is Freedom Film. What's the topic? Apparently, Germany's getting their panties in a bunch over people speaking on the internet. And it's funny how, after all the years of throwing off the chains of the monarchies, where you could not criticize your leaders, that is one of the things they're most offended by. Like, how dare you? How dare you criticize our platforms, criticize our ideas? You will be thrown in prison for your hate speech. Yeah, I just want to talk about this. Freedom Phil, like, subscribe. Let's get into it. And hey, turn up the video speed. And why do I always say that? Because if you're watching this, when I upload it, you should be watching it 1.75. You know, because, like, why not live life in the fast lane? Yeah, Freedom Phil, like, subscribe. Let's get into it. I'm watching this train wreck in Europe happen between what's going on in the UK or France, Germany, anywhere it seems in these countries. And I swear to God, at some point, they were looking at China and they're like, not far enough. And they were just jacking off to what's going on in North Korea. Because these people in power, they want to be the new monarchy. Oh, that's ridiculous. Really? Could you criticize the king? What happened if you said something bad about the nobles back in the day? What would happen? Oh, well, you know, that was a long time. It's happening again. They even say, well, you may not even know that what you're saying is hate speech. Yeah, the way they say that, and there's a reason they say that. They want you afraid of saying anything at all. Don't talk about this on the internet. Don't you dare have an opinion in the modern public square. That's really what it is. They hate the idea that you individuals, you people, free people, well, it's supposed to be free, less and less free, that you might disagree with some of their policies. You might disagree with some of the people they've just en masse, let into your countries. And God forbid you say, I'm sick of this shit. And you know what? They're putting the pressure cooker on the fire. When you can say nothing, it's only a matter of time till people in quiet groups eventually just say, fuck it. So, hey, man, you either take the pressure off and allow people to vote for legitimate parties, legitimate groups that'll repair the problems in their countries, or you will eventually get a revolution. And I don't know, maybe they're just hoping, well, if we work hard enough on the Terminator robots, they will just kill off all the citizens. I don't know. What's your fucking plan, Europe? Just like with the UK, you know, what's your plan? You know, like, maybe if we get them to breed with these uneducated, low IQ, like genetically fucked, by the way, people from the third world, will collectively lower their IQ and they'll be easier to control. And if you think what I said is really fucked up, you know, dude, they have cousin marriage as a normal thing with a lot of these countries the migrants are coming from. Cousin marriage. And why do they do that? They actually have a reason for it. Because then the land stays within the same family lineage. Well, the problem is you end up having a bunch of tard babies, and nature usually takes care of that. There isn't some miracle cure or whatnot. Back in the day, in a second or third world country, I mean developing country, because they've only been developing since the dawn of time. They still haven't made it. Still haven't caught up to the rest of us, even with modern technology. Developing. These developed countries, your child would just die. Yeah. I don't know what the plan is, but I do know this. The idea that they're so fragile in Germany, so fragile in France, so fragile in the UK, that they have to make it big and nebulous. You might say something and not even realize it. Just kind of like YouTube at times, right? You might leave a comment and that will offend people. Yeah. They want to be the next royalty. I'm telling you, they jack off to North Korea. Oh, God, their people are so afraid. They're so controlled. They're so obedient. Do you want to see that in America, for instance? Look at all these movements where if you don't regurgitate the same damn line, you might as well be walking down the street holding Mao's little red book. You know, if you don't repeat the same fucking lines over and over, no matter how crazy it is. The mob on either side, right now, the authoritarian left just happens to be worst. Make no mistake, the right will probably be right back eventually. After these messages, the right will be right back. You know, the right will come back and be just as fucking odious. I have no doubt this teeter-totter of sewage will continue. But yeah, you see that in the social culture. Or like you're not allowed to question things. And then you see the thing where like you got people walking down the street. Like you saw, who was that guy in France the other day who got murdered by those Antifa guys? He was trying to protect a group of women that said, basically, I think it was France, who was saying, yeah, we just don't want to be fucking groomed and raped and, SA'd by a bunch of fucking foreigners. A bunch of women. By the way, one more reason, dudes, don't simp. Remember, there's those women that voted this shit in. Oh, you can't say that. Yes, it was the women that voted it in. Yeah, and the men that were simping for him. But I'm telling you, are they going out there? Are they cracking down? Are they finally for instance, in America, we've labeled Antifa as a terrorist organization. Why aren't we taking it seriously? Oh, I thought they were terrorists. You guys are into their databases. There's no secret on the internet. We know where you're at. And if that's the case, why is it they're not busting them? And that's the thing. That's why I have, when people talk about, don't you so absolutely support Trump? No. Because a lot of times I think he's just fucking around and making a lot of noise. But at least in America, if I think Trump's being a fucking moron, just like if I thought Obama was a moron or Biden or whoever, I can say it. What does it say about your European? We evolved highly, so much smarter than you Americans. Your politicians are afraid of fucking memes. You're afraid of comments. Like, dude, there were people literally using AI to take the heads of like politicians and put them in bikinis. And boy, their panties got into a bunch over that. I thought it was hilarious. I really did. I thought it was fucking hilarious. And why is it hilarious? Because it's not the fact that they were doing it. It's the fact of your reaction. It just shows how fragile. Your ideas are odious when when all it takes is minor criticism or a meme for you to try to put the fucking stamp down. That's how they want to be the monarchy. They want to be that. The fact that they have to deal with the commonborns, the normies, the plebs, the plebeians, it pisses them off. It really does. They liked it back in the day. Let's be honest. They really loved it back in the day when the media was a handful of, channels over the airwaves or the publicly controlled TV. Lots of control, morality, all this. They loved it. You know why? Because they could tell you what the news was. And it wasn't like, occasionally there'd be somebody on the UHF channels, the fringe UHF. It'd be like public access, blah, blah, blah. Nobody watches that shit. But now everybody can go find the news on their own. And it turns out maybe they're showing some things. And by the way, this is why they also love AI. They might hate that it can make a meme that makes them look like it, but they love the fact that they can say, well, that's just a deep fake. I didn't say that. I didn't do that. It removes any accountability. That's part of the reason why the acceleration of deep fake AI technology has gotten as good as it is, because it protects criminals. It makes it harder to bust criminals when the video that used to prove it, the audio recording that used to prove it, the evidence. Now it's back to, well, do you really believe the person that says they saw it and heard it with their own eyes? They're lying. They're clearly being paid for by, like, in America, they're like, Russia, Russia, Russia. Oh my God, not everything's Russia. China exists too. Let's be real. It also is like in America, for instance, we just have a lot of fucking homegrown psychos. I mean, I've recently heard some guy just tried to assassinate Trump at Mar-a-Lago again, went in there with a shotgun and a gas can. And I don't know if that guy's living anymore. Haven't heard much about it. But yeah, what does it say about your politician? Like, Trump will take the fire. People, they tried to put him in jail. They used everything they could to try to use the courts, the rigged court system, to throw my president in jail. And yeah, I will say he's my president. I may not be a conservative, but goddamn, he's a fuck ton lot better than Biden was. And quantitative easing Obama. We just got to manage the decline, just like a president. Remember when Nancy Pelosi said that? We need a president that can manage the decline, like an airplane. Manage the decline? Fuck that shit. If you're in a Western country, you should be goddamn proud of your heritage. You should be proud of your country. A lot of people fought, bled, and died to have your ability to live the way you live. And,
I'm just sick and tired of this idea that we always have to take this back put and all this shit. And that's what the people, the fraggy-vaggies over in Europe, the fraggy-vaggies in America. Oh, man, you know there's a lot of people in America, when they talk about hate speech, they're jacking off to the idea of North Korea. Oh, God, we could have that much control. You goddamn know they would. This is what they want. That's why, you know, things need to change. Like the UK, the Reform Party, it's a good thing. You know, this guy coming along saying, yeah, I don't want to have less. I want to kick them out. I want them gone. Someone standing up for the people, because that is your pressure relief valve. You don't want to get another mustache man. And if you keep on taking a shit, you keep on taking a dump on your people, it won't be too long until that happens. But maybe that's all the plan. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they're just like, oh, France, we haven't had a world war in so long. Wouldn't it be so hot to kill off so many common boys? Oh, God. Yeah. You know, maybe that's their fucking plan. I don't know. But the fact that they get so butthurt, sand in their vaginas, panties in a bunch, when the people dare say, hey, I don't like this, or I think you're full of shit, or even worse, they make a meme. Yeah, it's because your politicians in Europe, much like a lot of the politicians in America, want to be the neo monarch. They want to be the next monarch. They want to be the modern version of it. And to be honest, if you go back in time and look how the monarchy started, it was some warlord, some powerful person, some charismatic person taking power and never letting it go. Look at the new boss, same as the old boss. Freedom Phil, like and subscribe. Let's get into it, and always turn up the video speed. And hey, y'all have a great day.